Hi, I'm Jake, 32, and last month my life blew up when my fiancée's sister tried to sabotage our wedding, and accidentally exposed a secret I didn't even know I was keeping. It started with a dress fitting. That's how these stories always start, right? Some normal, harmless wedding thing turning into an emotional car crash. Anyway, my fiancée, Emily, had invited her little sister Vanessa to her final fitting at this boutique uptown. Vanessa was 25, chronically dramatic, and basically one of those people you'd describe as a lot. Always the loudest laugh in the room, always a new crisis every week, and always just flirty enough with me to make things uncomfortable. But Emily brushed it off. She does that with everyone, she'd say. She just likes attention. I tried to believe it. Until the fitting. Emily was in the dressing room. Vanessa and I were waiting outside on one of those plush velvet couches. She leaned in close, too close, and said, "You're really marrying my sister?" Yeah, I said, confused. "In 2 weeks." Vanessa smiled, but not the friendly kind. The slow, calculating kind that made my stomach clench. "Just making sure," she said. "It's not too late, you know. You could always pick the sister who doesn't get cold feet." I blinked. "What are you talking about?" But Emily came out in her dress before she could answer. She looked beautiful. Stunning. Like the kind of woman you'd imagine in those dreamy bridal ads. And Vanessa? She clapped, cooed, took a million photos, but I noticed it. That flicker of something in her face. Something sharp. Envy, maybe? Something worse. After that, it escalated fast. A few days later, I got a DM from a fake Instagram account. No posts, no followers, just one message. "Are you sure you know who you're marrying?" Attached was a blurry photo of Emily, looked old, like from college, hugging some guy outside a bar. That's it. Nothing damning. But the next message said, "Ask her who Nathan is. Ask her why she lied." Now, I'll admit it, I panicked a little. Not because I thought Emily cheated, but because we'd just gone through months of planning. Venue guests, my mom flying in from Texas with her fourth husband. And this? This felt like someone trying to detonate all of it. So I asked Emily, gently, "Do you know someone named Nathan?" Her whole face changed. Like someone shut the lights off behind her eyes. "Where did you hear that name?" she asked. I told her about the DM, showed her the photo. She went quiet for a long time. Then she said, "He's no one. It was college. It didn't end well." She wouldn't say more. She got defensive. She said she was tired of being interrogated right before our wedding. And I tried to let it go. I really did. But 2 days later, my best man, my brother, Tyler, called me and said, "Hey, did you hear Vanessa's going around telling people you cheated on Emily?" I nearly dropped my phone. "What?" "I didn't cheat." "I know. But she's saying she caught you flirting with someone at your bachelor party." "Some girl named Haley? You know anything about that?" "Haley was my cousin's girlfriend. Vanessa had been at the party. She saw me chatting with Haley at the bar about her photography business because Emily and I still needed a wedding photographer. There was nothing flirtatious about it. But Vanessa clearly saw what she wanted to see. Or maybe she wanted it to look bad. That's when I realized something. This wasn't random. Vanessa wasn't just being a pain. She was trying to burn the whole wedding down. Why? That answer came exactly 3 days before the wedding, when Vanessa showed up at my apartment alone, uninvited, in a trench coat and nothing underneath. She was standing in my doorway in nothing but a trench coat and stilettos like some deranged movie cliché. "Vanessa," I said, blinking. "What the hell are you doing here?" She smiled like this was a totally normal Tuesday thing to do. "Relax," she said, stepping inside like she owned the place. "I just thought we should talk. Alone. Before everything becomes permanent." I backed up fast, putting space between us like she had an infectious disease. "This is inappropriate," I said. "You need to leave." She walked past me into the living room, casually undoing the belt of her coat like we were about to film an adult movie I had never signed up for. "You don't have to pretend, Jake. I see the way you look at me. I know you feel it too." I stared at her, stunned. "What the actual hell are you talking about?" She let the coat fall open, and yep, she'd committed fully to the cliché. I turned around so fast I nearly tripped on the rug. "Put your damn coat back on!" "I don't get it," she said behind me, tone turning sharp. "You're going to marry someone who hides things from you? Someone who still cries about a guy named Nathan when she thinks you're asleep?" That stopped me cold. What did you just say? She laughed, bitter this time. Yeah, I've heard her. She talks in her sleep sometimes. Says his name. You really think you're her first choice? I spun around. Even if that were true, I still wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole, Vanessa. You're her sister. She didn't look embarrassed. Not even close. She just shrugged. Half-sister, she said. And it's not like she ever appreciated you anyway. I picked up her coat, shoved it into her arms. Get out. And she did, but not before turning at the door and saying, if you tell her, she'll never believe you. She'll think you made it up to cover something you did. Just like with the bachelor party. Then she left. Cool as ice. Like she hadn't just tried to nuke her own sister's wedding. I stood there for a while, shaking, trying to process what had just happened. I wanted to tell Emily immediately. But then I remembered Vanessa's last words. If you tell her, she'll never believe you. It hit me like a punch to the chest. This wasn't just about me anymore. Vanessa was engineering this. Laying traps. Planting doubt. And now there was this Nathan thing. The name she whispered in her sleep. I needed answers. And unfortunately, the only person who had them was Emily. So I drove to her apartment. I didn't text. I didn't call. I needed to see her face when I asked. She answered the door in sweats and no makeup, her hair in a bun. She looked beautiful. Which just made it worse. What's wrong? She asked the second she saw my face. Who is Nathan? I said. Silence. She opened the door wider and stepped aside. Come in. I sat down on her couch, hands clenched. She sat across from me, looking everywhere but my eyes. I should have told you, she said finally. I wanted to. I just didn't know how. Tell me now. She took a deep breath. Nathan was my fiancé. Before you. He died. Car accident. 3 months before our wedding. Oh. I felt like an idiot. Like a jackass. Like the worst possible human for demanding this answer without knowing what it was. I'm sorry, I whispered. She shook her head. It's not your fault. But Vanessa knew. She knew everything. She was living with me at the time. She saw what it did to me. She told me you still cry about him. I said quietly. Emily wiped at her eyes. I do. Sometimes. Grief doesn't vanish, Jake. It's part of me now. But that doesn't mean I don't love you. I do love you. I believed her. Every word. But my blood boiled all over again. She tried to sleep with me, I said. Emily froze. At my apartment. Showed up in a trench coat and heels. Told me you were hiding things from me. That you weren't over Nathan. She tried to use it to convince me to leave you. Emily didn't say anything. Just stood up slowly and walked into the other room. She came back a minute later with her phone. She scrolled, pressed a button, then held the screen out to me. You need to hear this. It was a voicemail. From Vanessa. Hey Em. Just thinking about you. Hope everything's going well with the wedding. I was thinking though, if things ever fall through with Jake, I wouldn't be mad if he needed someone to talk to. Or other stuff. Kidding. Sort of. Anyway, call me. Emily sat down slowly beside me. I saved that 2 weeks ago, she said. Because I knew this was coming. And that's when we realized. Vanessa wasn't just trying to ruin the wedding. She was trying to replace the bride. We listened to that voicemail 3 more times. Each time, Emily's expression got darker, more unreadable. I'd seen her sad before. I'd seen her stressed. But this was something else. Cold, sharp, surgical. She's been doing this since we were kids, Emily said finally. Stealing things. Stealing attention. Friends. Clothes. Then boyfriends. And now this. She actually thinks she can steal my fiancé? She didn't just think it, I said. She made a move. In my apartment. She laid out this whole twisted narrative, said you weren't over Nathan, said you weren't being honest with me, said I deserved someone who chose me without baggage. Emily flinched at the name again but didn't break. I'm done protecting her, she said. Were you ever? I asked gently. Emily looked at me. Jake, you don't grow up with someone like Vanessa without learning to walk on eggshells. You learn not to react. You learn that if you fight back, she goes nuclear. So you make peace instead. You swallow your pride. You keep your mouth shut. That's how she wins. Then maybe it's time to stop playing nice. That's when Emily stood up, went to her bookshelf, and pulled down a plain white binder. She handed it to me. "You're not the first person she's tried this with," she said. "And I can prove it." Inside were printed screenshots, messages, photos, receipts. Years of them. Vanessa flirting with Emily's exes. Vanessa sending cryptic texts to Emily pretending to warn her about other women. Vanessa commenting inappropriate things on photos of Emily's boyfriends. She even had a fake Instagram account she used to follow Emily's partners. Always anonymous, always creepy. "This is... Jesus," I whispered. "I started keeping records after she tried to hook up with my ex Ryan. I confronted her, and she claimed I was paranoid. So I started saving everything. It was a full-blown pattern. A hobby. Like Vanessa made it her personal mission to sabotage anything Emily cared about." "So what do we do?" I asked. "We let her walk herself into a trap," Emily said. "We give her exactly what she wants. Which is... you," she said. "Or at least, she thinks it's you. But I think she wants something more." That's when Emily laid out the plan. We'd go ahead with the rehearsal dinner. Invite Vanessa. Pretend nothing was wrong. Let her think her little stunt hadn't worked. Let her think I was second-guessing the wedding. Let her feel like she had a chance. Then we'd expose her. At the dinner. In front of everyone. I was hesitant. That's a big gamble. She's going to try something, Jake. She needs attention. She's not going to be able to help herself. We don't have to bait her. We just have to let her be herself. Then we hit play. Play? Emily smiled, wicked and tired. "Oh, did I mention I recorded her last phone call?" "You what?" "She called me yesterday. Said if I ever had doubts about marrying you, she'd understand. Said not everyone's meant to settle down, and that you might be better off with someone a little less damaged." I kept her on the line for 15 minutes. She pulled out her phone, opened a voice recording app, and there it was. Vanessa, in her own voice, dancing around the seduction, planting seeds of doubt, even suggesting that she'd be a better match for me than Emily. It was sick. It was perfect. "You really want to do this?" I asked. "At a dinner with our families? I want her to finally face consequences," Emily said, eyes burning. "For once in her life, I want people to see her." The next day, we sent out the final confirmations for the rehearsal dinner. Private room, Italian place downtown. Family only. Vanessa RSVP'd yes within 8 minutes. And that's when I knew Emily was right. She was going to make her move. And we'd be ready. The rehearsal dinner was held in one of those dimly lit, over-the-top rustic Italian restaurants downtown. Brick walls, low-hanging lights, candles on the tables like we were all about to confess sins instead of celebrate a wedding. It was intimate, perfect for what we were planning. Emily wore a navy wrap dress and heels that made her look like a senator's wife with a grudge. Her hair was up, makeup flawless, but what struck me most was how calm she looked. Not fake calm. Not Instagram-ready calm. Resolved. Like someone who had decided enough was enough. I wore my usual, button-down blazer. The whole time I kept checking my phone, half hoping Vanessa would flake. Ghost us. Save herself from whatever storm she was about to walk into. But no. She walked in fashionably 10 minutes late, wearing a champagne-colored dress that looked suspiciously close to bridal. Floor-length, satin, low-cut. She knew exactly what she was doing. And from the smug look on her face, she thought she was still in the lead. "Sorry I'm late," she chirped. "Traffic was insane." Then she leaned in and air-kissed both Emily and me like this was a Real Housewives reunion and not a Last Supper. My mom raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Emily's dad, stoic, Midwest polite, offered her a glass of wine. And the night began. The conversation stayed polite through the salad course. Everyone laughing, drinking. Vanessa kept stealing glances at me, touching my arm when she leaned in to talk. Laughing too hard at things that weren't even jokes. Then she started making little comments. "Emily, you always go so all in with everything. It's admirable," she said, sipping her wine. "I mean, most people would be scared to marry someone with a history." The table got quiet. Emily smiled. "What history?" "Oh, you know," Vanessa said lightly. "Heartbreak. Death. Secrets. That kind of thing." I set my fork down slowly. "That's an odd thing to bring up." Vanessa waved her hand. "I just mean it takes strength. Not everyone could handle the idea that their fiancé might be a replacement for someone else." Emily didn't blink. "Good thing Jake's not insecure." "Of course," Vanessa said, tilting her head at me. But are you sure, Jake? I mean, deep down? Emily squeezed my thigh under the table. It was time. Vanessa, she said sweetly. Can I talk to you for a second? Just us girls? Vanessa's smile faltered for half a second. Sure. Emily stood and gestured to the far side of the room near the coat rack. I watched them walk over, watched Emily pull out her phone and press a few buttons. Then I heard it. A voice, Vanessa's voice, coming through the restaurant speakers. We had connected her call recording to the restaurant's Bluetooth system. Subtle, discreet, just loud enough for everyone at the table to hear. If things ever fall through with Jake, I wouldn't be mad if he needed someone to talk to. Or, other stuff. The room froze. My mom's wineglass hovered in midair. Emily's dad went pale. Vanessa spun around, eyes wide. What the hell is this? Emily walked back to the table calmly, phone in hand, voice shaking only slightly. That's your voice, Ness? From the voicemail you left me 2 weeks ago. You remember it, right? Vanessa's mouth opened and closed like a fish. You manipulated this. You edited it. This is fake. Emily hit play on the next part. This time, it was the phone call. Vanessa asking me to think about options. Telling me Emily was fragile and might not be ready for marriage. Want me to keep going? Emily asked. Or should we skip to the part where you showed up at Jake's apartment in a trench coat? Vanessa's face turned red. You're crazy. No, Emily said, stepping closer. I'm done being quiet. Done letting you ruin things just because you're bored and jealous and can't stand anyone else being happy. I didn't ruin anything. Emily pulled out the binder. Set it on the table in front of our parents. Here's 10 years of her doing the same thing. Different people. Same playbook. Vanessa looked around the table. No one was backing her up. Not even her own mother, who looked mortified. She straightened her spine. You really want to do this? Publicly humiliate your own sister? You're not my sister, Emily said. You were born to the same mother, that's all. And then Emily delivered the final blow. She held up her glass and said, to new beginnings. And to finally letting go of the people who were never really on your side. Everyone else lifted their glass. Vanessa stormed out without another word. Emily sat down, exhaled, and finally smiled, for real this time. Vanessa didn't just storm out. She erupted. Heels clicking, dress swishing, muttering something under her breath that may have included the word witch. But not the Disney kind. The restaurant door slammed behind her so hard the hostess actually flinched. And then, silence. Everyone at the table sat stunned, processing the audio ambush that had just unfolded like a live-action court case. You could almost hear forks pausing mid-chew. Emily's dad was the first to speak. So, that happened. My mom nodded slowly, staring at the untouched meatballs on her plate. I thought my third husband's ex was wild, but this is network television material. I was ready for fallout. For people to say it was too much. That we'd embarrassed the family. That Emily had gone too far. But instead, something unexpected happened. Emily's uncle leaned forward and said, honestly? About damn time someone put Vanessa in her place. I love that girl, but she's been skating by on charm and drama for years. Emily looked surprised. You all knew? Everyone at the table exchanged looks. We suspected, her cousin Claire said carefully. It's just hard to prove. And she always turns things around. Makes it look like you're the problem. And you've always been so quiet about it. Emily exhaled and blinked fast. I thought I was protecting myself. But maybe I was just letting her get away with it. Her stepmother put a hand on her arm. You stood up for yourself. That takes guts. And I think your sister needed to hear it, even if she'll never admit it. The rest of dinner passed in this weird haze of relief and awkward jokes. Everyone trying to reset the mood. The waiter brought out tiramisu with, "Congrats Emily and Jake," written in cocoa powder. No one said Vanessa's name again. But after the check was paid and everyone had left, Emily and I sat in my car in the dark for a while, not talking. Just breathing. Processing. I feel numb, she finally said. Like I just went through emotional surgery. You were incredible. I feel like a wreck. You still look like a senator's wife who just took down an enemy on C-SPAN. She laughed. A real one this time. Then she turned to me. Do you think she'll show up at the wedding? I hesitated. I'd like to say no. But Vanessa doesn't exactly follow rules. I don't care if she does, Emily said. Because if she does show up, she'll have to sit in a chair and watch me walk down the aisle toward the person she couldn't ruin. Damn, I whispered, smiling. Remind me never to get on your bad side. Oh please. You're lucky I like you. If this were a rom-com, you'd be the oblivious fiancé I have to save from the evil stepsister. You did save me. Emily looked at me. Her hand found mine. Jake, can I tell you something I haven't said out loud yet? Anything. I was scared to marry you. Not because of you. But because I didn't know how to be seen like this. To be vulnerable. To share everything and not hide. I squeezed her hand. You don't have to hide anything. Not from me. She nodded. I know that now. I think I've always known. I just needed to say it. Out loud. To someone who wouldn't throw it back in my face. I'm not going anywhere. She leaned in and kissed me. Soft, slow, tired, but sure. And that's when her phone buzzed. She looked at the screen, and her whole face twisted. It's from Vanessa. I felt my entire spine tense. What does it say? Emily read aloud. Hope you enjoyed your little show. You just proved to everyone how pathetic you really are. Congratulations, sis. You win. I'm out. I sat there waiting for Emily's reaction. Tears, anger, anything. Instead, she smiled. A strange, serene, terrifying smile. Good, she said, dropping the phone into her purse. Let her be out. She never should have been in. The wedding was perfect. Not Pinterest perfect, not influencer perfect, but real perfect. It rained the morning of, but then the clouds cleared an hour before the ceremony and the sun hit the white chairs like a spotlight. Emily walked down the aisle in a dress that made the entire room inhale at once. My best man, Tyler, leaned over and whispered, Bro, don't blow this. I didn't. Emily reached me at the altar, her hand steady in mine, and when the officiant asked if we were ready, we both said yes so fast people laughed. Not because it was funny, but because we meant it. Vanessa didn't show. At least, not that I saw. Later, someone said a car parked across the street during the ceremony and sat idling with tinted windows. No one got out. It pulled away during the vows. Maybe it was her. Maybe it wasn't. Didn't matter. What mattered was Emily saying, I do, with her voice shaking. What mattered was the way she looked at me when we kissed, like we'd both survived something. Because we had. At the reception, the speeches were honest, messy, beautiful. My mom cried through hers. Tyler told the story of how Emily and I met, and then said, It's about damn time Jake stopped dating chaos and picked a grown woman. Everyone laughed. Emily threw her head back and clapped. I kissed her cheek and whispered, I wish Vanessa could see this. She does, Emily whispered back. That's the point. And maybe that was true. Maybe Vanessa was watching from somewhere, arms crossed, heart clenched, wondering how the narrative slipped from her hands. Maybe she finally realized we weren't playing her game anymore. We danced. We ate too much. We got frosting on our clothes. Emily changed into sneakers halfway through the night, and still looked better than every bridesmaid combined. My dad hugged me 3 separate times. Emily's stepmom pulled me aside and said, I always hoped she'd find someone strong enough to stay. I looked around the room, at the string lights, at the people we loved, at the life we just stepped into. Strong enough to stay. That stuck with me. We left the reception around midnight, ducking through a tunnel of sparklers. Emily's hair was falling out of its updo, and she was barefoot and smiling like a woman who had finally set something heavy down. In the car, she leaned her head on my shoulder and said, It's over. But it wasn't. Not exactly. 3 weeks into our honeymoon, Emily got one last message from Vanessa. A long email with no subject line. It read, You humiliated me. You made everyone think I'm a monster. You act like you're perfect, but you're not. You're just better at hiding your flaws. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect you to respond. But one day, you're going to wake up and realize that pushing people away doesn't make you strong. It just makes you lonely. Emily read it. Then she deleted it. And that was that. We never heard from her again. People ask sometimes if Emily regrets it, burning that bridge so completely. She always says no. Not because she doesn't care. But because some bridges lead to fires, not homes. And me? I still think about Vanessa sometimes. Not with anger. Not even with pity. Just with this strange kind of peace. Because in a way, she gave me the best gift of all. She made sure that when Emily and I stood at that altar, there were no secrets left between us. Nothing unsaid. No shadows. She tried to tear us apart. And in doing so, she made us unshakable. I'm Jake. I'm 32. And when I say my wife is my best friend, I mean it in the deepest, most battle-tested way possible. Because we survived her sister. And we came out the other side stronger. Together.